Hello, good morning and welcome back. Today I will be doing two reviews. One on this aluminium Apex shed. This is a 6 foot by 4 foot shed, and the other one is a wooden shed which is an 8 foot by 6 foot. Okay, so let's start off with this aluminium shed here. Okay, so this is a Yardmaster brand, which isn't too bad. In terms of looks, it looks fantastic. There's not a sign of rust on there. I've had it for a couple of years, and there's no rusting on there at all. So that's brilliant. Yeah, as I said, in terms of looks, it's fantastic. When I built it, it took me 2 days. It took me a day to build the roof, because you had to build the roof separately, and then the following day I had to build the body. It was quite fiddly, I won't lie. In fact, I didn't like building this one. I'm quite a DIY person. I like building sheds. I like doing DIY work. I've got lots of tools in my house, so I'm quite proficient in building things like that, and I did not like building this. It was really fiddly. It should have been a day's job, but it took me 2 days. It took me a day to build the roof, as I said, and by the time I finished building the roof I was exhausted, so I had to leave it. I had to leave the body for the next day. So if you're not much of a DIY person, I would recommend that you get it built by someone professional. It's very fiddly to build, nothing like the wooden sheds. So yeah, just be careful. The height of it, I mean, the highest point is this point here, and that's about 6 foot, which isn't brilliant. If you come down the eaves here, it's about 5 foot. So it's not the tallest shed available out there. These caps here are very useful because they protect you from the corners, and I've bumped into these corners a few times, and had I not had these caps on there, it would have been quite nasty. So if you do intend on buying one of these, make sure that they come with caps, and if they don't, make sure you put some caps on for safety reasons. It's aluminium, so it's quite light. I mean, you can hear if I tap the shed, you can hear how hollow it is. It's not very thick, but because it's been galvanized and it's rust free, it's brilliant. A couple of years ago, when we had a storm, I believe it was Storm Doris, what happened was the shed, I hadn't fixed the shed to the ground. So you can see here now I've fixed it to the ground, to the slabbing. I've screwed it down, and I've screwed it in all 4 corners, but I hadn't done that. I didn't think I needed to, and during the storm it actually lifted the shed up quite high up, to the point where I was looking out my window and I was quite terrified. Actually, I thought this is going to go over to the neighbor's garden. You can see the hedge is quite tall. It's about 6 foot tall, about 5.5 foot tall, and it actually lifted the shed up quite high, and I was quite scared. So what I did was, during the storm, I came out and I had to drill this shed down to the ground during the storm. So I wasn't happy with that, but now it's nice and secure, and after that it's never been lifted up ever again, and I'm hoping it doesn't, because it's attached to the slabs, and it's nice and secure, and even the storms can't lift it up now. So if you do get one of these, again, make sure you fix it to the ground. If you're doing it on, if you're placing it on grass, that wouldn't be ideal. You need to make sure you put it onto some slabs and fix it down with screws or whatever you fix it down with. Okay, let's take a look inside. Now, these doors, this is the door handle, and it's come off a few times since I've had it. However, it's quite straightforward to screw in, so every time it came off I had to screw it back in, but I wasn't happy that it was coming off quite regularly. The door is quite flimsy, and it's quite tricky to open the door. These aluminium doors, quite tricky to open because they're not heavy. So what I've done is, inside I've reinforced the door with this wooden plank. As you can see, it goes into the grooves there, and that helps me to open the door with ease. Without this wooden plank, it was very difficult to open and close this shed door because it's so flimsy. And yeah, actually, this, have a look at that, it's actually bent at the bottom. So again, it's just a thin piece of aluminium sheet, and it's not the best way to design a door. It has come off a couple of times inside. The screws have come off there. As you can see, I've reinforced that door as well with a piece of wooden plank. So if you can't do that, make sure whoever's building it, you tell them to reinforce the door from behind so that the door doesn't bend and get damaged, because once the door bends and damages, you've had it. It's an open shed, so it's no good to you. These screws came off a couple of times, which I had to put back in. I wasn't happy with that as well. In terms of space inside, although it looks quite big from the outside, this 4 foot by 6 foot, it's not that big inside. I've put a couple of metal shelvings in there, and I keep some tinned food in there. I've got my a couple of my DIY stuff, things that I think a lot of it belongs to the kitchen. A lot of these things that we might need when cooking, and we might need on a regular basis, because we've got so much stuff in the kitchen, we can't possibly fit everything in. So we've put a lot of the things in here. When it rains, you can see the rain on the floor, on the ground, and that's why I've got the shelving in here. The metal shelving keeps the things in here nice and dry and high up, so that it doesn't get affected by the water. I've got a couple of things on the floor, but they won't get affected by water. I've got my DIY toolkit there as well. So yeah, the other thing is the door is about 5 foot tall, so you have to sort of bend down and go into the shed, which again isn't brilliant, especially if you're tall. It's not ideal. Okay, so that's the inside of the shed, and as I said, the door is flimsy, so you will have to reinforce it at some point from behind. Let's close this. Got a little padlock on there, which is useful, especially with thieves running around everywhere, breaking into people's sheds. So it's best to keep it all locked up, so to prevent anyone from breaking in. But overall, looks fantastic. It looks brilliant. No rust. It's been a couple of years and it still looks brand new. In terms of size, it's not too bad. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a 4 foot by 6 foot shed, so it's not too bad. How difficult it is to build it, I would say it's very difficult. If you're not good at DIY, don't attempt to build this. It's very fiddly, and especially the roof, it was notorious. So get someone professional, or whoever you're ordering it from, see if they will build it for you. However, just bear in mind, it does cost a lot to build these sheds, a couple of £100 maybe. Yeah, so this is the aluminium Apex shed, 6 foot by 4 foot. I've kept this one as close to my house as possible. As I said earlier, I've got things in there that we need on a regular basis, so I've kept it close to the house, whereas the wooden shed is further away from my house, because I've got my DIY stuff. I've got things that I might not need on a regular basis, paint, varnish, all that kind of stuff. During the winter, I even put my bikes in there as well. So yeah, let's go and check out the wooden shed now. Okay, so here we have the 8 foot by 6 foot wooden Apex shed. I've coloured it, I've varnished it, not coloured it, sorry. I've varnished it in a Harvest Gold colour, Ron Seal. Not bad, looks nice. It's got windows on the side. These can't be opened, so yeah, you get plenty of light coming in through there. However, I'm thinking now it might not have been a good idea to have the windows on the side, because you can't open it. I don't really need light in there. I'm not spending lots of time in there. I'm usually in there during the day. Once you open the doors, there's plenty of light getting in, and also it just gives thieves opportunities to look in through your shed at night to see what you've got in there, and could risk a possible break-in. So next time round I'm going to have to think about whether I want that window or not, really. So yes, it's 8 foot deep and 6 foot wide. It has double doors. It's nice and tall. Hello baby, you okay? I'm just doing a review on the shed. Okay, you want to come and join me? Come on then. Right, so the shed itself is nice and tall. I would say it's approximately 6.5 foot tall. The door is at least 5.5 foot tall, so it's much better than the metal shed. The doors are higher, so you don't have to bend down to get in. Once you get in, you can stand up nice, and even if you're a tall person, you can stand up, and not a problem at all. You won't need to bend down or kneel down because of the height. Okay, let's take a look inside. So you can see the door, it's a double door, and I think these are shiplap wood, so which is really that's really good. And you can see the wood on the outside is overlapping each other, which is good. It keeps it nice and watertight, waterproof. The roof, sorry, before we go in, I was going to go in, but just talk about the roof as well. The roof is felted. I've had it for a couple of years. No damage at all. Yes, baby. Yeah, that's a dandelion. Let's have a look. Wow, that's a dandelion. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, the roof has been felted, and there's no damage on there. There's no leaks, no water leaks. The floor is nice and secure. If you look at the flooring, this is the first, I mean, not the first time, but usually when you buy a wooden shed, they sort of give you a very flimsy flooring, but this one is solid wood. So I know that this will last a very long time. I put a liner on top of the wooden flooring. Yeah, that's days, please. These are dandelions, aren't they? Okay. Right, so I've got some vanilla in there just to keep it nice and dry and prevent any sort of damage to the flooring. But as you can see, there's plenty of space, and I've crammed it with stuff. I've got so many things, I don't know where to put these things, so I've put a lot of my tools in here. We've got some surfing boards in here. These are used by my daughters when we go on holiday or surfing. We've got some paint, some varnish. I've got a shelf right in the corner there, and I put a lot of my varnish. Yeah,
Daddy, that's my floaty.
Is that your floaty?
Yeah.
Ooh, what's under here? Let's have a look. And you've got my Karcher, jet wash,
and
pressure washer, and your pram. Yeah, the reason why I've put this covering over it is because earlier, as I said, this window I'm not very fond of, to be honest, because at night you can just shine a torch through it and see everything that's inside. And I have had one of my pressure washers stolen in the past from this shed, because I left the shed open, and obviously, hold on baby, yeah, what's the matter? Yeah, those are tiles. And yeah, left the door open at night and it wasn't covered, and I'm guessing some thieves came and looked through the window and saw the jet wash, and it was a quick easy steal for them. Oh wow, fantastic. Okay, can you give me some space? And then, right, it's a solid shed. Very happy with the sturdiness, no leaks whatsoever. I can stand in here nice and tall. Even a person who's 6 foot tall can stand in here comfortably without a problem at all. Okay, in terms of building the shed, let's have a look. Okay, so in terms of building this shed, it took me 1 day to build the shed, and it was nice and easy. My son helped me, I won't lie. Okay, it is a two-person job, and it took me a day. It wasn't very difficult, quite straightforward. Not as difficult as the metal shed or at all. The metal shed was a nuisance. This is much easier to build, even if you're not a professional DIY person. You can do this with the help of someone else, as long as you've got a drill, screwdrivers and some screws, you'll be fine, and maybe a saw as well if you need to adjust any of the parts. The door isn't, the entrance is nice and big, 2 doors. I can easily fit all of these bikes in there in the winter, when I sort all the mess out inside. Not a problem at all. Okay. So there you have it, the wooden Apex shed. So if I was to score the wooden shed, I would give it, this particular one, I would probably score it a 9 out of 10 in terms of practicality, how easy it was to build, how sturdy it is, how watertight it is, and the amount of space that's in there, and also the price. I think I bought this one for about £500. The metal one, I would score it at maybe 6 out of 10 because it was very difficult to build. It's very flimsy. During a storm it nearly flew away. The door's very flimsy. I had to reinforce the door. In terms of size, yes, I could have got a larger shed if I wanted to, but yeah, even the 6 foot by 4 foot, to be honest, you're not going to get much in there. And the price was about £350, so only £150 difference, but the amount of space that you get in this one and the amount of time it takes to build the metal shed compared to the wooden one, it's phenomenal, and it's very sturdy, no problems whatsoever. I am varnishing it every year, so I would recommend that you varnish your wooden sheds every single year to keep it nice and healthy, no rotting anywhere. Yeah, so I'm quite happy. If I was to buy another shed, it would definitely be a wooden one. The metal shed, yes, the only advantage I would say of the metal shed is that it looks fabulous and there's no rusting on there. But in terms of space, how difficult it is to build, how sturdy it is, it's nowhere near this wooden shed. I hope this review has helped you in, or helps you in deciding what to buy or what sort of shed to buy. Just close this. Yeah, and if you've got the space in your garden, I would definitely go for a wooden shed, and it doesn't look bad as well. It actually looks quite nice. If you look after it, it will last you many years to come. Take care. Please share, like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.